Welcome to the Get Creative podcast. I'm your host, Justin Tuminowski. You can find me at realestatejustin.com. I have a gentleman from Utah. We're going to share a deal on the other side of the country, though. So, Colin, please introduce yourself and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name's Colin. I live in Utah. I'm from Texas, though. And this deal happened in Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, actually. It happened through me calling Zillow listings, which is kind of technically how I learned the process, is just to look on Zillow and call up the listing agent. And my way of going about it is to just cut through the bullshit necessarily and just ask them if they're open to seller financing or sub to creative financing. Just off the rip, just ask them that immediately. And if they're not, move on to the next one. And for this deal, I called on a listing and asked if they were open to seller finance, and she sent me actually a completely different listing. And then I didn't know at the time, but she actually kind of transferred me over to the seller. So for the entire time I was talking to the seller, which in my mind I thought I was talking to the agent. So that was an interesting little tidbit.
So she passed the hot potato over to the homeowner and be like, I'm not going to talk about something that might be, and in creative finance, this is a cash deal, right?
Yeah.
And in creative finance too, I can see how someone might want to just pass the buck off, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was weird because for the longest time, because I was talking to the guy thinking that he was the agent. And for basically the entire time, I thought I was talking to the agent. It wasn't until right when they closed escrow that he was like, "Oh, I'm not the agent."
Dang.
But
he didn't say anything nasty.
Yeah, no, he didn't say that he was the seller too either, which was a super weird scenario. But either way, yeah. So I asked if they were open to seller financing. They were, and this was actually the second time that I had to bring the deal to my buyer. At first, he turned it down for one reason or another. He said he's based in Miami, and he said it was too far north for him. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to kind of stick with it and see where it goes. Eventually, at one point, I had to tell the guy that I wasn't the buyer for him. It just wasn't going to work out, which I think kind of threw him for a loop. I think it confused him or lit a fire under him a little bit because he wasn't coming down on the interest rates. They had the interest rates way too high. They had a 3-year balloon on it, which was way too short, and he was dead set on it. So, but I maintained contact with them throughout that whole time. I was texting him every day, seeing if he found a buyer, seeing if I could help him find a buyer for it. And then, I brought it one day. I wasn't getting anywhere with the negotiations on getting him to come down on his interest rates, which was at a 6.5, which is outrageous. And so I brought it to my buyer again. I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to look at this again?" And he was like, "You know what? Actually, I do want this, and I'm okay with those terms." For some reason, he was okay with those terms. So I was like, good, because I'm really kind of tired of trying to talk him down on these things. So, yeah. So.
All right. You know what? And so I may have said earlier that this may have been a cash deal, but this wasn't. This is a creative deal or a cash deal?
It was a creative deal.
All right. So my mistake, and that is totally on me. So you did a creative deal. You were calling the agents. Get right to the point. Agent passed it over to the homeowner. You're not sure who you're dealing with. I would also probably understand that. And then, so you did the negotiations. Your buyer said no, but at the end of the day, you kind of came back in 6.5. I mean, at the time, dude, I don't even know. I'm doing a refi right now in a DSCR. I'm not even getting 6.5. I think I'm still hovering right close to 7. Or maybe I'm in 6s. I can't tell you, but it's close. So it's not the worst.
Definitely not the worst, but man, it's definitely not the best.
Yeah.
The 3-year balloon was really what was kind of garbage.
Yeah, and you're right. And the 3-way, guys, anyone sitting at home on the sidelines, and if you haven't done a creative deal, that's great. But a balloon is essentially, the homeowner set the terms of, hey, I want to be paid off in 3 years. I'll give you this loan, whatever the financing, seller financing, whatever the terms are, but maybe they want to end it in 3 years. So there's a balloon. And you need a runway. We don't recommend, personally, I don't recommend that to anybody I know. I always go, I want to see 10 years minimum. I'm willing to be flexible, depends on the deal, right? But you want to give yourself enough runway where if you have an up and a down, you want to be able to have an ebb and a flow of a correction in a market. So don't set yourself up for a 36-month deal because, guys, 12 months comes really quick and then the shot clock comes. But Colin, next thing you know, so where'd you find your buyer? Did you already have your buyer lined up before the deal?
Yes, I did actually. My buyer actually found me through Facebook. I was slinging some Keegley deals across the few different Facebook channels, and my buyer noticed it and reached out to me and said that he was looking for deals in Miami. He asked me if that was my market. I said no, but I can definitely turn it into my market. And he kind of pre-vetted himself to me. We set up a phone call, and we got on. He showed me his bank account, showed me that he was legit, and that was enough of a reason for me to like focus my attention on what he was looking for.
Damn, he flexed on you. He was like, hey, I'll show you credibility. Here's my bank account.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're calling nearly expired listings and or days on market listings straight from Zillow. Guys, everyone's sitting at home, super easy to do. I would even go a step further and say, even if you want to go across the country, right? We have a software out right now that Pace Morby's literally putting out as we speak. It's called Deal Sauce. And there's MLS access on all 50 states. So stay tuned for that. More info on that is, I'll give you maybe the show notes or send me a DM. I'll get you guys connected. But you can literally just go on a Deal Sauce type of platform software. You can go on Zillow. And if you see something nearly expired or nearly ready to be expired, right? 180 days on market, 90 days, 60 days, whatever it is, give them a call. See what's going on. And then, so Colin, do you have any like words for someone calling out there right now? And I don't want to jump too far off from the deal, but I want to set that conversation piece up. I know you're going right for a yes or no if you're interested in creative or not. I understand that. Has there been an education piece for a seller, for agents? Have you been able to massage your way? Like, hey, maybe they say, and then you have to educate them. Catch me up on some of the conversations or dialogues those agents are giving you on the initial convo.
There could be, but with me, I typically am just kind of like burn and go. If they're not open to it, then I don't want to talk to them. You know, so I don't continue on with the conversation. Now, I could refine that a little bit and kind of dig into why they're not open to it, but I'll just respect that they don't want to deal with that, so I'll just move on to the next one. Of course, I'll try to leave my name in their brain somehow by reaching out to me if they do come across a seller that's open to it. Hopefully they do, but I don't lean too heavily onto that aspect of it, which I should.
Yeah, I mean, asking why, it's just like the classic, I guess in our business, and I'm a hunter and gatherer is what I call it. So we have a lead generation business. And one of the famous things that people do, and growing up, even in the business, you go, hey, you're talking to even a seller, you go, well, hey, do you have any other properties? And I can say that I've heard that story when I was learning the game. And so then we implemented, and sure enough, you ask that enough times, there's always someone going, well, hey, I do know my brother or my cousin or my uncle just passed away. There is that other property. Oh yeah, there is one. So people, you ask that one extra question sometimes, and then they change their whole demeanor.
Yeah, but, very true. And I definitely need to linger on the phone call a little bit longer for sure, but that's what worked for this deal anyway.
All right, yeah, that's all that matters. So you get your first deal, you're calling the Zillow listings, you're calling agents, asking them the question, cool. So guys, right there, take action. You can get deals that way. And if you don't have someone, well, what do I do next? That's when you reach out to Colin. That's when you reach out to someone from the community that understands creative finance, and then you just squat up with them. So it's literally that easy. All right, Colin. So next thing you know, you find your buyer, he agrees, 6.5 interest rate. The term, you guys change the terms, seller agrees. Do you have all these big magical problems that come up, or is this super streamlined? Catch us up on closing escrow and you getting paid, dog.
Yeah. So the next little bit of the deal was kind of fascinating because so my buyer dropped the $20,000 of non-refundable EMD the Monday of Hurricane Milton, right? And he actually dropped it right when they all started shutting down for the hurricane. He wired it to their account, and we didn't get the escrow letter until the next week after Hurricane Milton kind of did its thing. So I felt like I've navigated this deal through a hurricane, a tornado, and a whole lot of buyer anxiety.
I thought you were going to tell me the $20,000 non-refundable was, next thing you know, hurricane hits, the gentleman backs out, but he doesn't get his $20,000 back and someone else gets backfilled. But that's not the case here. So Milton hits, didn't really cause too much of a delay, right, in the retrospect, but everyone's still good. Everyone picks the pieces back up. The house doesn't get trashed, doesn't get swept away, right? West Palm Beach, nice market.
Yep.
So you guys are on the way to closing. Catch us up.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was actually like the most boring part of it. We were still on track to close once we got past the hurricane and the tornado and a little bit of buyer anxiety. It was just a waiting game. It's just constantly touching base with the title company and making sure that we were still on course. And they closed on Friday, and my check came in on Monday.
So what was the check? Nice shiny check come in the mail. Was it a next day air? So it comes in that nice envelope. You got to tear it open. All right. And let the audience know what you get for an assignment.
Yeah. So it was a $10,000 assignment fee. I couldn't believe it. Like once my buyer dropped the $20,000 of EMD, that's when I knew that it was real. That was like, there's no turning back now. He's serious about it. And then whenever it closed, and of course I had to wait all weekend for that check to come. And the funniest part about it is I couldn't get that check deposited to save my life. I had to void it and send it back to him, and then open a new checking account that would allow me a wire transfer. This is actually kind of a headache, but either way, my account got funded.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So then I guess setting up your systems kind of ahead of time, maybe learning, but you got to fail forward and you got to understand that, these things happen. So guys, relay banking, getting your LLCs together, there might be some lessons in that for another day, but at the end of the day, you did the thing. There's a check that has your name somehow attached to it, right? It's your money. We just got to figure out how to get it to you. And yeah, you had some headaches, but that's learning, the power of a transactional coordinator and also experience another squatting up with other people. Not saying you had to do that here, but it does help if you did squat up with someone, guys. I've had that problem where we had to get the checks all in my name and my business accounts because this person has yet to have it all set up. And actually I paid people in their personal names from my business account and they have to get 1099 and all that stuff, but that's not my worry. But again, it's all good. I would not let that stop me from taking action.
Not at all. No, that was just a little blip on the map of getting, a deal done. It was just a small little thing.
Yeah. It's like, but the only thing is like, I know the money's mine and I just can't touch it. That's probably the frustrating part. And it's your first check, but bro, tell us like the proof of concept was there at that point, right?
Yeah. And that's the exact thing that lit the fire. Man, now I did it. I know it can be done because I witnessed it, I made it happen. That's what lit the fire even more, so I just kept calling. I just continue to do the thing,
So dope.
The thing about it is I was really kind of close to like stopping. I was kind of close to quitting. And man, I'm so thankful that I didn't quit, because had I quit, I wouldn't have learned so much, in this one deal. I learned a whole lot, and I wouldn't have gotten paid. But man, I'm glad I didn't quit. If I could say anything to anybody is just keep going. Don't ever quit, because you'll make it happen.
It's so good to you say that. And thank you for saying that, because it is true. I always say like the success is right around the corner, right over the next mountain range, right over the next hill. You don't know. And most people do quit right at the 99% mark. They have no idea that they're there.
Yeah.
And bro, that's the time when you should ask yourself, that's the time like, it's going to happen. Something's going to pop.
Yeah. If you feel like you're about to quit, that means that you're probably about to make it. Keep pushing through, that's all I can say is keep pushing, because you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
You hit it eventually. It's almost impossible to not get it in this industry. You just have to keep trying.
As long as you're showing up. Yeah. You got to put in the work and the reps. And that's number one, I would say. So bro, that is so good to hear that. It's so good everyone talks about that. And people just don't understand. So guys, if you're sitting at home, you haven't done your first deal, you haven't done this thing, Colin is telling you right now what the recipe is. It literally is just showing up. Like I said, go on Deal Sauce, pull a list, go on find active buyers. So easy. Next thing you know, go on Zillow, call those agents, and you can get a $10,000 assignment check. And it's that easy. Just make sure you can get it cashed. That's the learning lesson from Colin here. So Colin, I guess, what are you looking for these days? And are you still looking for deals in West Palm Beach? Are you looking for deals in Miami? Where are we looking for deals?
Yeah, looking for deals in South Florida. That's my main market. I want to keep bringing deals to that buyer, but I've come across other buyers as well, cash buyers in Florida and in Texas that I've developed pretty decent relationships with. So if you have any issues with disposition, please reach out to me. I have buyers that are trying to buy good deals.
Right on. So are we buying creative deals only?
Nope. Cash deals, creative deals, all the deals.
Right on. Right on. All right. So guys, you heard it. Colin can help you get your deals closed. He obviously knows creative. He has buyers. He can also lock up deals for you. And so we're talking acquisitions. We're talking dispositions. Pretty dope. Colin, how do we get a hold of you though? I got some deals. How do I get a hold of you?
Yeah. You can find me on Facebook. Just typing in my name, Colin Preston, COLLIN PRESTON, and I'll try to set up an Instagram sometime soon to make it easier. But yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me.
Love it, dude. Well, bro, you've said it all. I love that this is a quick, powerful episode. Guys, we're gonna put this out. I want you to have a quick listen. Take some of this stuff down. If you haven't done your first deal, use Colin as an example. If you got to hit Colin up for a little bit of advice or inspiration, I'm sure he would lend a comment or two. And guys, bring opportunities. Go out and find opportunities, and then you can JV with Colin and get your check as well. That's some of the hacks as well. Colin, any last words, dog?
Just keep doing the thing. Keep trying to bring value to people. Stay positive. Don't let yourself get in your way.
Yeah. Right between the 2 ears. That's the trickiest part, right between the 2 ears. Well, guys, Colin, thank you so much. Guys, thank you for listening to the Get Creative podcast. Again, I'm your host, Justin Tuminowski, and you can find me at realestatejustin.com. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.